Okay, let's review our lines. Go ahead and write down what you think the slope is. So you have 4 slopes, those 4 red lines. Write down what you think the slope is. All right, let's start on the left-hand side this time. Okay, Eunice, this first one, positive. Okay, Aaron, this next one, negative. Of Iris, this bottom left, 0. And then last one, Penny. Yeah, undefined. Okay, so quick review of your slope. Slope by definition, do you guys remember what it is? Huh? Slope. Slope is m. Yeah. Okay, rise over run. So how far you go up and down divided by how far you go across left and right. So rise over run. What else do we know about slope? y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So that's the formula to find slope. The next thing, you may not have known this, but it's basically the change in y over change in x. The triangle is Greek letter delta, so this means change. So delta means change. So it's the change in y direction over the change in x direction. Okay, let's kind of review a little bit. What does y-intercept mean? It's a point where the line crosses y-axis. And how do you find that? It's when x is 0. So, quick review. Let's go ahead and look at actually solving a problem. So find the slope between these 2 points. So like if I were to draw a straight line between these 2 points, what would be the slope? So m is equal to y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. All right, you guys can do this. Go ahead and do that. Figure out what the slope is. So negative 2 minus 2 over 4 minus minus 1. So you end up with negative 4 over 5. Next, there are usually 3 forms of linear equation. First one is our point-slope form. Do you remember the equation for point-slope form?
It's y minus y1 equals to m times x minus x1.
Yes. So this is the point-slope form. What you need to fill in is your slope and your point. Therefore, the point-slope form. You have a point and you have a slope. The second formula is called the slope-intercept. Do you remember the slope-intercept form?
Y equals mx plus b.
Good. Y equals mx plus b. So what you want to fill in is your slope and intercept. What intercept are they talking about, though? The y-intercept. So you want to make sure you understand that this is the y-intercept and not the x-intercept. So when you try to remember what goes into the formula, remember the name. So point slope means there is a point in there and there's a slope in there. The slope-intercept form has a slope and an intercept, and that intercept is the y-intercept. Oh, there is a third form, and I forgot to tell you. Actually, there are 2 more forms. Yeah, there's a standard form. So let's write it on the side. Sorry about that. Standard form. Aaron, you know the standard form?
Yeah, x plus b. Wait, no, x plus.
No, you're right. AX plus BY.
by.
Equals C. Yeah. Oh, yeah, it's okay. So standard form is ax plus by equals c. Now, those a, b, c's are a little bit interesting. So the first thing is a, b, and c have to be integers. What are integers? 0 positives, that's called whole number. And they're opposites, so all the negatives as well. Which means, can I have fraction? Depends. No, we cannot have fractions. Okay, so I said A, B, C's are all integers, which means you cannot have fractions. So when we have fractions, we have to get rid of them. So we'll talk about how to do that. The second thing that has to happen is A has to be positive. So not only does A, B, C have to be integers, the first one has to be positive, so you cannot start with a negative number. All right, so let's go ahead and try one. Find the equation of the line passing through these 2 points using these 2 forms. So let's start with the point-slope form. So we need a point and we need a slope. We are given 2 points, so we're kind of good there, so we need to find a slope. Okay, so let's go ahead and find our slope. So go ahead and do that first. Find the slope. Okay, Evan, what is the slope? 3. Good. Okay, so with the point slope form, okay, y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. What you want to do is fill in the x1, y1, and the m. We already have m, which is 3, so the next thing we're going to do is just pick one of the points. Which one of the point do you guys want to use? 2, 1. So usually you want to pick the smaller numbers. And usually I also pick the positive ones because I don't want my to make mistakes calculating. So this is going to be y minus y1, which is 1, equals 3 times x minus 2. 2 is the x. And then at this point, you're going to just simplify this. So distribute and simplify so you can solve it and get it into slope-intercept form. So 3x minus 5. Okay, so this is how you get to the y equals mx plus b from point-slope form. Now let's try another way. We're going to just use the slope-intercept form. In this form, we need 2 things. We need the slope and we need the intercept. So again, slope we already found, which is 3. We need to find b. So we're going to do exactly the same thing, except this time the point 2, 1 goes directly into xy. So 1 goes into y, 3 is the slope, 2 is x plus b. Okay, 1 is equal to 6 plus b, so b is minus 5. At this point, just substitute back. So y is equal to 3x minus 5. So you should get the same equation no matter how you do it. Quick review, you probably already know this for a long time. Next, parallel lines. If I have 2 parallel lines, what kind of slopes do they have? Same. If I have 2 lines that's perpendicular like your warm-up yesterday, what are the slopes to them? Opposite reciprocal. So opposite means that they're negative of each other, and reciprocal means that one of them is 1 divided by that number. Opposite reciprocal. So let's go ahead and have you practice. Okay, so A, find the parallel slope to that line, and then the perpendicular slope to that line. Find the parallel slope and the perpendicular slope. Okay, so Andy, what is the parallel slope? Huh? Negative what?
4.
Negative 4. Okay, and then Blake, what is the perpendicular slope?
1/4.
1/4. Okay. Now let's look at B. This is not in y equals mx plus b, so you have to change it into y equals mx plus b first, and then find the parallel and perpendicular slope. So go ahead and do that. Okay, let's start with Allison. So if you change this to y equals mx plus b, what did you get? Okay. Next, Caleb, what's the parallel slope? 3/2, and then Trey, what's the perpendicular slope?
2/3.
Okay, good. Huh?
Isn't it
Minus 1/2? Hmm?
plus?
Is it minus? Sorry. Okay. All right, so now what I want you to do is find the equation of a line through this point that is perpendicular to the equation here. So what you want to do is take this equation, figure out the slope, find the perpendicular slope, and then make it go through that point. Making it go through that point means you need to use the point slope form or the slope intercept form. Do you guys need me to do it, or you guys can do it? You can do it? Okay, if you have any questions, ask me. I will show you how to do it. I think we ended at Trey. So Josh, did you get the equation? Okay. Alana, do you have the equation? Okay, what is it?
Y equals 1/4x minus 7/2.
Okay, good. So this is the answer. Now, let's say we want to change this into standard form. Okay, how do we do that? First of all, is it okay if I leave it with these coefficients, 1, 1/4, and negative 7/2? No, because they have to be integers, right? How do I make them all integers? What? Multiply by 4. So same thing as yesterday. If we want to get rid of all the fraction, we multiply by the least common denominator, which is 4. So we're going to multiply by 4. So this becomes 4y equals x minus 14. Can I leave it like that? No. What needs to happen? I have to move something. Okay, I have to move x. If I move x, I get negative x plus 4y equals minus 14. Is this okay? No. Okay, so x, or the first number, has to be positive, so we need to multiply everything by negative 1. So then this is the correct standard form. Okay, so make sure, first thing, all the coefficients are integers. Second, x has to be positive. Whatever number in front of x has to be positive. Okay, so let's have you guys practice. Number 1 on the practice. So write an equation that's parallel to that line, and I also want you to write it in standard form.